Welcome back and welcome in. As you may notice, we have a new name. That's my bad. It was a little mix up. No big deal. Got it switched, got a new name. I honestly love the name. Leave a comment on any of my platforms that you follow me on. Let me know what you think about the new name. But no matter what, still the same show, still the same Florida Gators talk. So we're going to get right into this. It's going to be a little bit of a quicker episode today than it has been. We do have a big show coming up on Tuesday this week, the 22nd, 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Me and Shelton from Hightop Sports are going live on YouTube. Come hang out with us. Come talk some Florida Gators talk. Ask us some questions and just, come hang out and kick it with us. Let's have a good time and just all the Gators talk as we wait for this much anticipated 6 weeks that we're waiting for Florida Gators football to come back. So diving into it, not much of a recruiting update. We honestly don't have a whole lot to talk about. As for our rank on 247, we are still sitting at number 14 with 18 commits, 14 4-stars and 4 3-stars. And then jumping on over to On3, we are sitting at number 13 with 13 4-stars and 5 3-stars. I know it's a little confusing. That's why you have the different platforms that rank people. I usually go off 247, but I'm going to try my best to give you guys both platforms because I know some people look at one, some people look at the other. So I'm going to give you both, and we'll just keep rocking that way. Not a lot of movement, like I said. As for recruits, I'm hoping we get some news here soon. Again, I've said it in previous weeks. I'll say it again this week, and I'm going to say it again for the following weeks. Games have to be played. Games will be played. People will get pushed out. People will come in. This is not where we're going to finish. We're going to jump up those rankings. Like I said, I think we're going to have a huge season, and I think that we're going to end up with a top 3 class. Mark it down. Record this. Whatever you have to do. Remember, I said it. It's going to happen. So, jumping over to the games deep dive, we are going to start off with the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, when I was growing up, this was a game on the schedule that we just checked it off, knew it was a win, no big deal. There's nothing to worry about. Until last season, the 3 seasons before that, that was not the case. They were handling us. I was in the swamp when the streak got ended. I remember the feeling. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I cannot believe this streak is over. It was a streak that I was like, I'm going to live my whole life and I'm never going to see the Kentucky Wildcats beat the Florida Gators ever. And then they turned around and beat us 3 seasons in a row. But that wasn't the case last year. We put a absolute BTA to these boys, 48-20. So Florida leads the record 54-21. Longest streak, 31 games. As for this season, honestly, I just see it being a repeat of last year, and that's the way it should go. Again, this isn't going to fall into like the Mississippi State where it seems like almost a trap game or anything. It is in Kentucky, understandable, but it's not a crazy atmosphere. It's nothing too dangerous. I don't even see this being a close game. Shouldn't be. If it is, I think we have a lot bigger problems going on with the football team than we know about right this second. And not that there's anything going on right now, but what I'm saying is that something happened from when I'm saying this to when that game happens, because there's no reason that Kentucky should compete with this team. They've had transfers. They've lost players to the NFL. And honestly, we retained so many guys. I just think it should be the same as last season, if not worse. So, again, I just don't see them beating us on any spot on the field. Honestly, I think you could check mark Florida being better on every spot of the field. I know that I've said it before that I don't make scores. I don't, pick who's going to win. But again, I will pick this one. I think that Florida is going to handle them very easily. I think that Billy's figured it out with them, and the scheme versus scheme is just not what it was when Billy first got there. And again, when you got Lagway at the helm, I just trust them boys to get it done. So, as for Ole Miss, and I'm sorry, I know this is going to be a quick episode. I want to get you guys a weekly episode out here because Tuesday is going to be our big show. I hope that, again, that you guys come and hang out with us. As for Ole Miss, before I start, I'm going to say this. I understand us Gators, we can't stand Florida State. We can't stand Georgia. But there's two other teams that I cannot stand, and it's from my childhood. I'm 32 years old, so if you're around my age or within that realm, you'll understand what I'm saying. When I can't stand Ole Miss and I cannot stand Auburn because they beat us in the national championship runs. Can't stand them. It absolutely makes me sick to my stomach. I know this is a little off topic. I can still see Auburn's kicker doing the Gator chomp, and it makes me sick to my stomach. But as for Florida and Ole Miss, Florida leads the series 13-12 with one tie. We are on a 3-game win streak against them. And as for this game, this has a lot of different. This is a game that it's really hard to pick this one. They have a new quarterback with Austin Simmons coming in and replacing Jackson Dart. I was at this game last year. I was in the swamp for this game and got to witness just the atmosphere. And it was, I'll be honest with you, that game last season, just walking up to the swamp, I looked at my brother and I told him, I was like, just the atmosphere and just the way it feels here with Lagway and just the hype that's going on. I was like, this truly feels like the national championship days when we used to come up here as kids and we watched this dominant team. It had that same feel. And I told him, like, something's going to happen today. Something great is going to happen. And I feel like I told him even the week prior, say, hey, we got to go to this game. We got to get tickets. We got to get to this game because I just feel real good about it. So with that being said, Ole Miss is obviously up there with the LSUs, the FSUs, these guys who they hit the transfer portal hard. And the reason I'm not a fan of it when you're hitting the transfer portal to almost rebuild a team is because you don't know what you have. You have no idea what you have in that player, and you don't know, are they going to fit the scheme? Are they going to pick up on the playbook that fast? That's why high school recruiting is so huge, and you need it still. I get the transfer portal is great. You get some of those key players that jump into the portal, like when Saban left and these Bama players were jumping in. Okay, I get it. But you can't build a team on it, and for example, I'll talk about this on, next week's episode, but FSU kind of falls into that. You go from having a team that loses one game because you're building off the transfer portal, and then the very next season, they're terrible. 2-10. And I'm not saying that Ole Miss is going to be 2-10. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know what their record's going to be. Austin Simmons has been there, so he kind of understands. But when you rebuild that team through the transfer portal, like I said, you don't have time to help them understand, okay, this and that. Ole Miss is losing Trey Harris, Jackson Dart. They're losing key players on that team. And so can they rebuild? Maybe this team ends up better than last year's. I don't know. But talking about Austin Simmons, the same way that we talked about Arch Manning, you don't know what you have there. You have no idea what he's going to be. We don't know if he's going to come out and absolutely dominate. Who knows what he's going to be? Now, I don't know what it is about Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin, but he gets about 17 quarterbacks to commit there, either through recruiting or through the transfer portal. So there's a little bit of like a fallback if Austin Simmons isn't the guy, if he just doesn't end up being what they expect him to be. There's a little bit of a fallback there because it's not such a huge jump where it's like Arch Manning and then the next guy. Like Arch Manning's, Heisman, next guy, you know what I'm saying? So Austin Simmons, there's a little bit of a fallback plan. But again, you don't know what this team's going to be. You have no idea. Next thing is being Lane Kiffin. No matter what last year showed with winning the Georgia game or whatever with him, it shows that he cannot get it done in the big games. And I'll be honest with you, when the lights get bright, I mean, they needed that win right there. If they beat Florida, they end up in the playoffs last year, and we see just a complete different playoff bracket. But they didn't. We ended up knocking them out of the playoffs. But I think that there's a huge thing in this, right? I think that your head coach is your head honcho. He's your top guy. And their demeanor and who they are as a person kind of falls down onto your team. And I know it sounds crazy, but Jackson Dart was so close with Lane Kiffin, and we've known Lane Kiffin to choke. When the going gets tough, he's known to choke. He's known to not win the big games. Yeah, like I said, he won the Georgia game last year, but he's known overall to not win the big games. And what happened when it came to Jackson Dart needing to win that big game? And I'm not knocking Florida. I think Florida's defense went out there and did everything they needed to do. And I think we absolutely confused them and caused him to make terrible throws, terrible reads. But also there was a mix of him he choked, honestly. He just did not get it done when it mattered the most. And so I definitely think that kind of is that what's going to happen with Austin Simmons? Who knows? We don't know what they have there. The big thing is that it is in Ole Miss this year. So that's going to help them a little bit. I definitely think that the Swamp pushed the Gators over the top last year. I think that was like the final push to help us get to that win. And so we got to know what we got. We got to go in there and understand it's going to be loud and, put our best foot forward. And so, again, when it comes to this game, my big takeaways are we know what Florida is returning. We know what we have here. Not just Gators fans, not just the Gators. It's everyone. The country knows. The country knows about Tyreek Sapp. They know about Caleb Banks. They know about Eugene Wilson. They know about DJ Lagway. They know that we have, obviously, Dallas Wilson's a freshman, but they know that there's potential there. They know about Jermichael Sturdivant. We know what we're bringing in. Whereas, and again, you got a Jermichael Sturdivant who's coming from the transfer portal. But I think the big thing is that we know overall as a whole, we know what we're bringing in. And so Ole Miss, you tell me, I don't know. I know I'm just on a rant here, but it's just, I think it's a telltale thing where you got to get everybody to get in there. They got to learn the scheme. They got to learn the playbook. They got to be able to fit and mold with everybody to have like a couple of just like pieces that we plug them here, and figure it out there. When you have a broad spectrum of like, okay, here, like LSU's defense. LSU's defense is completely revamped from the transfer portal. We have no idea what they're bringing in. We have no idea if they're gonna be a fit. We don't know if they're gonna work well together. It just all comes together. And so, with that being said, it's another one that I feel like Florida comes out on top. It's not a game that I'm really stressing. Who knows? Lane Kiffin's going to put an offense out there. You know that they're going to score some points. But if this offense does what we think they're going to do, we're going to score a lot of points too. And I think in the end all of it, I think that Florida's defense is what ends up prevailing again. Who knows? It could end up being the same as last season where it comes down to that fourth quarter where we're all just on the edge of our seat, probably nails back to the skin and just chomping at the bit, wondering how this game's going to end. But personally, I think that at the end of it, I think our defense is going to end up being better than their defense. And I think that's going to be the telltale of it all. And that's what's going to push us over the edge. It is going to be tough in Ole Miss, but I think that's what's going to push us over. But yeah, so both these games, these are just, I think that it's going to be, we got through that stretch. I mean, we got through that, that row of games in that 4-game stretch there. That's just going to be horrific. And so I think we'll be rocking and rolling. And I think that these 2 games are going to be, I think we're going to get both these games. I really do. I think that both these games, and you know what? Honestly, I've been saying, "Oh, I'm not going to pick this. I'm not going to pick that." No, I'm going to be cocky for a second on the Gators. I'm going to go out and say this, and whoever sees this, whatever. But as for us Gators fans here, this team is nasty. This is one of the best teams that we've seen in a long time. Honestly, it might be the best team that we've had as a whole. Top to bottom, this is the best team that we've had since 2010, and I'm going on a record and saying it. We may drop a game. I don't know. But we're making the playoffs. I'm the stamp right now. Stamp it. We are making the playoffs. Remember, I said it. It's going to happen. Whether you believe it or not, I think a lot of people believe it. But if you don't believe it, you better start believing it. I'm telling you, this team's making the playoffs. This team is so good. DJ is going to stay healthy. I'm just putting it out there. He's going to stay healthy all year. Yes, it's football. We're going to have some dinks and bruises and some this and that, but it's all right. He's going to stay healthy. And I'm telling you, this is going to be an absolutely just mind-blowing year. And so I just can't wait. I'm so hyped. But as I told you last week, we're going to do a new segment called Player Spotlight. Last week, I got a little bit on a rant about DJ Lagway. And I just wanted to kind of get it out there about, I get tired of hearing about the interceptions. I get tired of hearing about are we overhyping him, this and that. No. But anyway, so we're going to go into a player spotlight this week in Cormani McClain. Cormani is probably the most interesting, maybe, I don't know the word I'm looking for, player on this team, because I am from Polk County, Florida. And I went and watched Cormani play many, many, many times. He is truly gifted and truly talented. And I definitely think that he has more to give than what has been shown. I think that we need to understand something here, that there can be a lot of talent. And when you mix talent with maturity, and on the flip side, when you mix talent with immaturity, it becomes something that both are very, very, very huge. You got to have the talent, but you also have to have the maturity. There's different things that come from it, and I think that when he was in Colorado, I think that what he went there for was very smart of him. He's a defensive back. He went to go be coached by the greatest defensive back to ever play in the NFL. You can't blame him. You can't knock him. But I think certain things just aren't a good fit. And I'm not hating on Colorado. I'm not hating on Dion. I love Dion. I think Colorado, I love watching Colorado play. But it's more of a spotlight thing. And to put it very bluntly, when you come from Polk County, there's not like the limelight everywhere. There's not this and that and this and that. I mean, look at Derwin. Derwin James played at Haines City High School, goes and plays for that ugly team out there in FSU, and just, stays out the limelight. He goes and he balls, he gets it done, and he's now in the NFL, and he's making a long career of it. This isn't the lights aren't the same, you know, like it is out in Colorado. I mean, it's a show, to be honest with you. There's celebrities on the sideline every single week. There's people there to see Shador and to see Travis Hunter, and there's cameras everywhere and there's lights everywhere, and it's the Dion special. It's what he's known. It's what he's, you know, if you've known Dion and you've seen him when he was in the NFL and everything in between to now, this is what he does. He puts on a show. The cameras are there. He knows how to be a showman. But also sometimes it can be kind of a bad, I guess, leadership standpoint for some of these athletes because they think they can do it. Oh, I don't have to do this or I don't have to do that. And that's not a knock on Cormani. You know, he's still young, and he was young then. He's still young now. But I see so much maturity and improvement just from the things that are shared, the things that he shares. Just overall, he has made such a jump in maturity. And I think that is going to be, I say all that to put it into perspective, that I think that that's going to be what is going to get him over that hump. I think that's what you're going to see is when that maturity mixes with his talent that he truly has, and he's willing to go, you know, into the meetings. He's willing to go to the team meetings. He's willing to go to the positional meetings. And I don't know how true that is. I'm not here to put that on him. I don't know. That's just the rumors that were coming out of Colorado, that he didn't show up to meetings and he didn't want to do this, or he showed up late and he was lazy, all these different things. I don't care. All I know is that whatever it is, the player that I see on the Florida Gators now is a very, very mature young man who just is getting more and more mature every day. And I think that you're going to see him have a massive breakout year this year. I think that this is a year that could really put him on the map. And I know that there's, you know, Devin Moore, Dijon Johnson. You have guys who are kind of solidified there. But as you know, the past has shown, Devin Moore can't stay healthy. So someone's going to have to fill into that role. Someone's going to have to come in and be that guy, because I'm telling you, if we don't have a guy that is that guy, we're going to be in a lot of trouble this season. I do think it ends up being Cormani. And I think that it ends up becoming that we're going to look back on this episode right here, and at the end of the season, people are going to go, wow, like, okay, we got us one. And how much of a difference he's made. Another thing about him is I've been seeing these pictures that are posted, and golly, that boy has put on some size. That boy has put on some muscle, and I think that it's going to translate so well onto that field. And so if everything is combined, I know it's a lot to ask of, you know, a college kid, but if all of that combines, the maturity mixes with his skill set, even going into all of it, maturity in the weight room, maturity in the classroom, maturity in the meetings, and then maturity on the field to learn that playbook, I truly think that you're going to see why Cormani was what Cormani was coming out of high school. You know, we're predicted to get him, and then, you know, going to Miami and then end up at Colorado. And, you know, however it happened, he's with the good guys now. And I just, you know, I want to spotlight him because I think he had such a bad rap. And I just think that a lot of people truly don't. We were all teenagers at once. We all made mistakes. But a lot of us that are making those mistakes, we didn't have the lights on us like he did. We didn't have, and everybody's like, well, he asked for this. Okay. It is what it is. I'm telling you, if I'll go out on a limb and say this here too, because I know that I said Aaron Gates is going to be that guy on defense. And I still believe that. But I think that if Aaron Gates is able to come back healthy, and then you see what Cormani can be, I genuinely, this DBU is going to be back in Florida. I mean, truly, you're not going to be able to throw on this team. It's not going to be able to happen. You put the ball in the air, it's going to be going the other way, and it's going to be back in DJ and Co's hands. That's just all there is. That's all there is to it. I can't wait to see how the season plays out. I don't wish injury on anybody. I just hope that we have a good mix of just rotation, and that when Cormani, I hope Devin Moore stays healthy the whole year. Because when he's healthy, I mean, that's another one. He's putting you in a seatbelt. But I hope that when Cormani gets his chances out there, I hope that he makes it count, just like he did against Kentucky last year with the interception and taking it to the house and jumping into the crowd with the fans. He just seems like he's at home at Florida. He just seems like this is where he was meant to be all along. And it may have taken him like the long way around. He had to take a trip out, west and then coming back, but it's all right. He's here now. And I can't wait to see what he grows into, because he's just, I don't know. He's a very, very special talent. And I think that everybody will truly see that come this fall. So, last thing here, let me go to our questions. Give me just a second. 1 second. I had it and I don't know how to load up. This is on me. My bad. I apologize. While I'm looking for it, I want you guys, if you're reading this, to comment who you think on offense and on defense, who you think a breakout player will be this year. On offense, don't tell me Lagway. That's a cop out. I want an offensive player and a defensive player who you think is going to be a breakout player this year, who is going to be that guy who pushes us over the edge, who, like, again, especially defense. I really want to hear. I think we obviously know the Tyreek Sapp, but I want to hear you guys think is going to be, that guy when it comes to this season. All right. Okay. How do you feel about our recruiting, and do you think we prioritize the right positions? I think that when it comes to Florida's recruiting, this falls into when it comes to the transfer portal and when it comes to the high school rankings. Billy Napier and these coaches that he brings in are so good at evaluations that I mean, honestly, at this point, even if it is a 3-star, 4-star, I do get frustrated. I can't even lie to you. I look at Florida State, who went 2-10 last year, bringing in 5 stars. But the thing is that Billy made a statement at SEC Media Day that holds so true. And honestly, it's so reassuring for me that I can just kind of sit back, relax, and it's recruit a problem, you'll have a problem. And that's the thing that he's doing. He is creating a machine that he knows what he's looking for. He knows exactly what he needs, and he's been around top programs, the Alabamas, the Clemsons. He knows how that machine's supposed to run. And I think that there's something that goes with that, where it comes to, you have to understand how these big time universities and these successful universities and universities that compete for national championships every single season, how they run. And, it's mind-blowing to me as a Gators fan, even to myself sometimes, how we look at like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, these top schools, that they go and get a 3-star player. Ohio State, they go get a 3-star player, and we're like, man, they must see something. That guy shouldn't be a 3-star. He should get a jump. He should this and that. But we do it, and I see, and maybe it's just because I see our comments more, and maybe their fan base is doing the same thing. But I don't understand outside of play calling. That's the only thing that we've seen so far, because evaluations and the players they've brought in. I mean, do you think Ricky Pearsall would have been a 1st-round pick if he had stayed at Arizona State? Because I don't think so. And they know how to bring him in. They see that there's development there. And honestly, when they develop super quick. So as for recruiting and hitting the positions, I think that that's something that Billy just has dialed in. He knows what he needs. He knows what he wants. He goes out and he gets it. He trusts what's there. I will say, I think the biggest thing that I want to pay attention to this year, because again, I don't know, but I'm just going to trust, is I'm hoping that our defensive backs are going to be what our coaches think they are this year. I definitely thought we probably should have went and got like at least one in the, one more in the transfer portal, maybe two more in the transfer portal, just to have kind of depth, because it's PTSD from last year where injuries happened and there's just not a lot you can do about it. And you start dropping in that, in that depth chart, and there's not a lot of depth there. So I think that's the one spot that I think, as for recruiting, we did great. And so we may have some true freshmen that have to get in there if some bumps and bruises happen. But I trust Billy's evaluations. I trust what he's doing. I trust this whole entire staff. I mean, you got Billy's army out there, and that's all you got so many of them. That's what they're doing. They're evaluating players. I mean, I don't know 100%, but I can almost just guarantee that Billy's seeing a player, he's giving it to this guy, and that staff is going through and just evaluating everything, just every single movement of that player. And that's when these offers are coming out, and so I'm not stressing. Again, the biggest thing for me for this season is I just truly want to see how we get over the hump with the play calling. As to answer the question, recruiting, I trust it 100%. I trust their evaluations. I trust the way that they break these players down, and the way that when they get on campus, how they get on the field very quickly, and just who they bring in that just fit schemes. And, they have a style they go after them, and they get them. They don't get them all, but they get a lot of what they want. So yeah, recruiting wise, I can't complain. Of course would love the 5 stars, but they'll come with wins. So that's where the big thing is. When we get those double-digit wins this year, when that happens, you'll see that the 5 stars start rolling in. They're going to be like, okay, it's not just because the recruiting pitch with, we have DJ. It's only going to go so far. You know what I mean? You got to win these. You got to show these players that winning happens there. You can't just say, oh, we have DJ Lagway. Like, okay, yeah, it's a shiny toy, but if it's not rolling, no one's going to want to come play there. So watch when those wins come in this year. Watch when we finish with the double digits this year, and you're going to see what happens to this recruiting class. I guarantee it. I'm speaking it into existence right now. This season is going to catapult Florida again. I'm tired of hearing y'all are a basketball school now. Stop. It's an everything school here, and you're going to see it happen this season. You're going to see it absolutely jump off the charts, and I'm calling it now. Remember, I said it, speaking into existence, and it's going to be a huge year. I cannot wait. I'm so glad I started this podcast when I did, because it's just so much fun in Gainesville right now, and it's going to continue to be fun. I will guarantee it. I felt it last year at the Ole Miss game, and you can feel it in the offseason. It just feels different right now than it has, honestly, in years, absolute years. I was in school the last time that it felt like this. So, yeah, I mean, that's it for today. Like I said, it's a little bit shorter of an episode, not too much. The other one's been 45 minutes or so. This one's going to be right around 34, 35. So I thank you guys for hanging out with me. Again, let me know what you think about the podcast name. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know. I'm open for anything, and I'm not one to get offended. Again, this Tuesday, July 22nd, 9:10 p.m. Eastern time. Come hang out with myself and Shelton from Hightop Sports. Let's have a good time. It's going to be just a kick it show. We're going to, get Shelton's opinions on Florida Gators football this year, how he's feeling. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time. And I just can't wait to hang out with you guys and see you guys. And so let's go. We're getting closer, man. We're getting closer. I cannot wait for this season. I absolutely cannot wait. But anyways, that's it for this week. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I appreciate everyone on X and on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok who are just absolutely leaving great comments and, just keep fueling me and pushing me to want to keep creating this content and pushing out more Gators content for you guys. So as always, go Gators. And if you ain't a Gator, Y'all know the rest.